All right, everybody, Moonbase Alpha, thanks for watching. Just a real quick update on the Galil Ace. This is about 4,000 rounds down the pipe. This gun's been holding up pretty well, but I will tell you that there are a couple quirks that you probably want to be aware of. For one, it does not like Lancer mags. Lancer L7 magazines, the AWM mags that you see in this rifle, are very hit or miss. I don't know if it's a Galil problem or if it's a Lancer mag problem. I haven't had this issue in any other gun, but you know, again, it could be that the Lancer mags are slightly off of SR25 spec. The Galil Ace tends to kick those magazines out of the mag well. So you'll be shooting, and every couple of rounds, it'll basically eject the magazine on accident. That's kind of a bit of a problem. I haven't had that issue on PMags, any of the sizes, capacities. It just seems to be, like I said, something associated with the Lancer mags. Other than that, the gun performs pretty well. I know that a lot of people really took issue with the fact that I call it the Scar 17 killer, but it's kind of true. This gun was very, very much a really good sort of alternative to that Scar 17. Back when I made that video, you also have to take into consideration Scar 17s were virtually unavailable. And if they were available, they were ridiculously expensive. Now, they're still ridiculously expensive, but I think you can get a Scar 17 if you look in the right places for around $2,800. That's still $1,000 more than a Galil Ace. If you look in the right places, Source One basically lightly used, you can find one of these rifles for $1,500, $1,400. So it's almost half the price. And when you consider that, that the Galil Ace is about half the price of a Scar 17, it does make you wonder why you would go and pay the extra money, because the Galil is probably 90% the rifle that the Scar is. Yes, I think the Scar 17 is a demonstrably better rifle than the Galil Ace. I said it. I consider the Galil Ace to be, like I said, about 90% there. There are a lot of things that I really, really like about this rifle. As a battle rifle, it's very reliable. The iron sights, I know a lot of other people don't like them. I happen to think that they're great. I've had a good luck with the iron sights, but even scope, this rifle seems to hold zero pretty well. Like I said, I've got about 4,000 rounds down the pipe, and my top cover is still very tight. I have no issues with them. The gun runs very clean, very reliably. I really don't have much of a problem with this rifle. It does like lubrication every now and again. But the gun, I've had it basically, I've subjected it to temperature, tried to bake off all the lubrication. Runs clean, it runs dry, it runs wet. It doesn't really care what the environment is. These guns are very reliable weapons. And, you know, I know, again, like I said, I get a lot of flack for that, saying that it's almost as good as a Scar 17. But when you start to look at, like, okay, realistically, practically, most people can't drop $3,000 on a rifle. That's untenable for most people. And yeah, I understand a lot of people, if they just, you know, consolidated their firearms collection, you know, down to a couple of rifles, you know, they could easily afford a Scar 17, but, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to do that. If you're the kind of person who really gets serious heartburn dropping 3Gs on a weapon system, regardless of how great it is, the Ace is probably a better bet for you. I'd say it's the best complete weapon system without going up to that Scar 17 sort of level that I know of at that price point. That's a very important thing, and I hope you understand exactly what I'm saying there. Yes, there are better weapon systems. They are more expensive. And this is very complete as it sits at the price point. In other words, it has excellent reliability. It's accurate. It's very ergonomic. It's easy to use. It uses readily available magazines. It doesn't care about ammunition type. It's very complete. It's got all the features you'd ever really want. And it's, like I said, it's about 90% as good as something that costs $1,000 more than this gun. And like I said, again, there are demonstrably better options out there if you can afford them. But if you can't, or you're the person who doesn't want to spend that much on a 308, which is, again, a very specialized weapon system, this gun right here will do you 90% as good. And for most people, that's going to be perfectly fine. I would take this over pretty much anything that is cheaper than it. I would say that there's no PTR 91, there's no M1A. In fact, I don't even think there are any AR-10 or DPMS G2 type rifles that I would take over this at the price point. Now, if I were going to go up to something like a $2,000 to $3,000 rifle, again, the SCAR becomes a player. There are certain others. The only thing that I know that competes against this rifle that would even come close at the price point would be something like a DSA FAL. Those are quite nice, but I don't think they're as rugged as the Galil Ace. No offense to the FAL guys, but I don't think FALs are as reliable as Galils. I just don't. I've seen a lot of FALs choke. A lot of it's because of the tight clearances that are on the FAL rifle, and generally that design just isn't as robust from a sort of sealed to dirt standpoint. Galil Aces are remarkably reliable guns, and from that perspective, I would rather have this. In addition, FAL magazines are kind of proprietary. This takes SR25 mags, so you can use P mags, which are very lightweight. As far as I know, there's not really a great polymer option for the FAL. There's thermolds, but they kind of suck. At the end of the day, like I said, there's a lot of really positive aspects of the Galil Ace at this price point that make it very, very compelling. And I do continue to like this rifle. If I didn't like it, I would probably sell it and go buy something else. I am, however, tempted to go get a Tavor 7 when those come out. I think that might be something of a game changer. The Tavor itself, a very reliable, rugged system. Operationally, long stroke piston, that's obviously sort of a draw to that. Although I don't know if the Tavor 7 retained that. I suspect it did. But as far as I'm concerned, that might be the only thing that could possibly dethrone this for me. Because I don't think I'm going to go and spend the money on something like a SCAR 17. And a lot of it depends on how expensive that Tavor 7 winds up being. I don't know exactly what they intend to MSRP those at, but we'll wait and see. There would be maybe a couple of AR-10 systems in there, but again, AR-10s tend to be a little finicky. They're proprietary in a lot of respects, and the AR-10 system is becoming better, becoming more standardized, and just in generally improved. But AR-10s don't necessarily have the most pervasive reputation for excellent reliability. Galils and AKs, so by extension, actually do. So I hesitate to recommend an AR-10 at a price point. There are some really excellent, reliable ones that get up to $3,000, yeah, but they're again more than 2 months worth of mortgage for me, so it becomes very difficult to justify that. Anyway, just some thoughts. I wanted to just give you a quick update on the Galil Ace. Like I said, no-goes on the Lancer magazines. Those kind of suck, but the rest of the rifle's pretty awesome. I haven't had any issues with the P mags, and it's been a fantastic rifle for me.